So I've been working on maxing out several pals on Palworld for both battle and work, and whilst doing so, mostly whilst using my Astegon, I've noticed something that would change how you use those passive skills and which ones they actually need to have to be at max efficiency for each task in your base, if you really even need those passives at all. Mostly though, in this one, I'm focusing on mining ore, as it's such a big deal in Palworld. You need that copper ore for basically everything past a certain point, and you want it mined as fast as possible every time those nodes pop up. Now, of course, the actual fastest way would be to use a mining creature yourself, like actually ride it or use its ability. I have a tier 5 mining pal, and that is my max condensed Astegon. And when I'm riding with his Black Ankylosaurus skill, he can mow through nodes basically instantly. And you guys will probably know the talk of Digtoise, one of the best when you have the headband on and he is in your party using his Drill Crusher skill. But at the base, even with loads of work speed maxed out, he sucks. Why is this, and how does he differ from the other mining pals? Overall, which one should you actually use for max efficiency? I set out about testing the differences with my Astegons. One with max damage passives and fully condensed, one with all work passives, and one with stats mixed but no negative work speed like the Musclehead passive. What did I find? Every time they hit the ore node, the time between hits was basically the same. There was hardly any difference in work speed at all when doing this specific task. What was the difference? It was damage. The damage numbers that were popping up. The best Astegon, my fighter Astegon, was the fastest to mine the ore nodes completely. Now that is nowhere near as fast as I could have actually mined it myself while riding the Astegon, but for automation in the base, he was the fastest, thus being the most efficient. I've actually got some stats here for you guys. Haven't gone crazy with any spreadsheets. It's not quite my style, the spreadsheet stuff, but some simple info that you can understand. The base level, not condensed, with Ferocious Legend passives, done 54 up to 65 damage on the ore nodes per hit. The mid 2-star condensed Work Slave, that is the one with the max work speed, he did 54 to 65 damage per hit. And the maxed out one, condensed 4 stars, all passives, done damage of 81 to 97 per hit. Thus, he was mining the fastest, doing the most damage. Note that the difference between the base level condensed with all damage passives and the 2-star condensed Work Slave Astegon was exactly the same, even though they had completely different attack values. Why? Because of their actual mining level. That is the level 4 by default, and it had not changed and does not change until you have it at max level. Thus, the tier 5 mining Astegon does more damage on the ore, and this is by quite a margin. What does this mean for you? If you have an ore mining setup where the mining powers are set up for copper, ore and co, quartz or sulfur, maybe you have the most popular mining base on that hilltop, the best mining powers are going to be the ones that have the most levels in mining. That is the main thing that matters. The higher the level, the better they are. That mining level is converted into their damage whilst they're in the base, and the attack values have little to no effects. So what does the work speed stat actually affect? This is very evident when I use my worker Astegon with basically max work skill speed on the stone pile at the main base. Here he can max it out at 999 stones very quickly, and you can see him going mental with the pick because his work speed is actually being used here. This would also apply to any other station where increasing the work speed would be used, so handicraft stuff, and I'm guessing kindling and watering. But actually, some of the other stuff, probably not if you think about it. I would even say it doesn't affect transporting or gathering, although I've not fully tested this. I actually think for those tasks you would generally just benefit from more movement speed, taking one thing from one place to another, maybe even condensing them to get a higher level up for their work suitability. That could and should technically make them more efficient if it works in the same way as mining here. But coming back to mining, how could we apply this to the infamous Digtoise? He was buffed a few patches ago, but still is apparently the worst according to tests. What can we do to make him better whilst he is auto farming or in the base? Well, just to prove the point further, I added a load of damage to a Digtoise by breeding the boss passives and damage passive stats into him, and I once again compared a battle Digtoise to a work speed one. The result, Digtoise is different than other miners, but still sucks in both ways here. With my damage passive loadout, he was still hitting the rock for 2 to 3 damage, basically normal. And with the work speed loadout, he was spinning noticeably faster. So actually, work speed does affect Digtoise more than other mining pals with his spin attack, but the damage did not increase. He was still doing 2 to 3 damage. So he would be faster than a Digtoise with muscle head on, but the actual mining speed was still not great. Simply put, both of them still take ages to mine the ore nodes, and they go for several breaks in between. I could not believe the amount of food these guys needed to eat before they had even got through one node. Absolutely terrible as standard. They were loving that salad and going back for more and more. My only other test left was to confirm my theory and max Digtoise out by condensing, raising that mining skill work level from a 3 to 4. So after a ton more breeding to get another 116 Digtoises, I think it is, to get a max level one. Well, I'm actually pleased to say here, we managed to make Digtoise good. He still goes through food at a pretty alarming rate, but his ore farming rate is about 3 times faster, and on co-nodes even faster again, as he does more damage on them. So he can actually go through a node and a bit before having a snack break. Actually did further tests, timing all the mining pals I have against each other. 4 of them here, including Digtoise. I have a standard Anubis with all work speed traits, a standard Blazamut with all damage traits, a maxed out tier 5 mining Astegon, and a maxed tier 4 Digtoise. The Anubis, who has tier 3 mining, got a time of 5 minutes 10 per node and 8 salad once. The Blazamut, who has tier 4 mining, came in with a time of 4 minutes 11 and 8 salad once. Digtoise, surprisingly here, came from bottom, and that is at bottom of all miners when he was a tier 3. But with tier 4 here, he came second with a time of 3 minutes and 2 seconds per node, but 8 salad twice. And the tier 5 mining Astegon came in first with a time of 2 minutes 25 seconds, and he didn't even need to eat before moving on to another node. Now, all of those times do include the time to eat as well. So what is the takeaway? Digtoise, when max condensed, moves up to an actual tier 4 farmer. In fact, he is nearly halfway to a tier 5 when you give him a load of work speed, but still consumes too much food. The problem is, if you look, he loses a chunk of stam every time he starts his spin, so hopefully in the future that will get a fix and balance little Digtoise out with the other miners when it comes to eating. If you are not bothered about food, then he is actually pretty damn good at this tier, and feeding him something like pizza or another higher nutritional value food would up his food bar more every time he eats, so that would mean less food breaks. My preference, however, for your ore farm after all this testing for ease and efficiency, stick with Astegons as they are great and easily breedable. They also have more damage naturally than other miners, so they would crack ore nodes faster with their tier 4 mining skill, and they will eat a normal amount of food for the work they're doing. Now, I would always aim to get them to tier 5 mining to speed the process up. You can also use Anubis, I know a lot of people do. Whilst technically not as efficient, they tend not to get stuck as much as the bigger guys, so you can factor that into your choice. Obviously they are 1 tier less, they won't do as much damage on the ore, but they also clean up after themselves, and condensing these up to tier 4 should take about a minute off their time per node. Besides that, the other top miner would be Blazamut, but that is really endgame. He would be the best choice in my opinion, as maxed out, you would get a tier 5 mining speed along with tier 4 kindling, which is a top combination of course for an ore base, as he can mine and then smelt the ore into ingots. For passives, you might had well just stick with work speed maxed out. Other than that, it really is all about condensing them together and upping their tier if you want more from them. Damage has such a minimal effect for base creatures and is only really shown in mining when you're using them in your party. So with that all said, I'll end it there. Hopefully that info is just what you need to optimize your ore mining bases. I was confused with some of the info out there. I'm sure some of you were too, but that is how ore mining works for base creatures. If you did find this one useful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more useful vids in all the games that I play, and drop a comment. Maybe justice for Digtoise on this one. Cheers for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next. Bye for now.